We are going to be going through the Western Aphasia Battery Assessment. Okay, so Mallory is going to be our clinician. Hello. Marley is going to be our client. So we're just going to walk through a couple of the subtests. We're not doing the supplemental packet. We're just doing part one. So the first portion is this is all spontaneous speech category, and the first subtest is conversational samples. This protocol is laid out really nicely. It tells you the materials you need, your directions, repetition, and recording responses. Those are our guests of honor, Laura and Kelsey. Thank you for making an appearance. Come say hi.
You're welcome. Hi.
So Mallory will demonstrate some of the conversational samples. There's no basal or ceiling for this test. You're just simply recording what the patient says, and you're keeping track of errors they make, and you're scoring it as you go along.
Okay. How are you today?
Good.
Have you been here before?
I don't think so.
What is your first and last name?
Marley Mack.
The next part is a picture description. So the stimulus book is over here, and here's an example of this.
Tell me what is happening in this picture.
The boy is flying the kite, and the man is fishing, and she's building a sandcastle, and they're pouring drinks and reading.
So to score these two subtests, you're going to use this page where you can kind of give them a score, find a description that matches their response, and then you write that in the little boxes, and you total everything up at the end. We'll show you. The next subtest is auditory verbal comprehension. These are yes/no questions. You don't need any materials for this, and Mallory will demonstrate.
Is your name Brown?
What?
No.
Is your name Mac?
No, that's my nephew's name. It's my last name.
Oh, is it? Do you live
yes.
in? Do you live in Sioux Falls?
Yes. Sort of.
Are you a man or a woman?
A woman.
Good. Okay.
No, they're yes/no. You'd say, "Are you a woman?" You'd say yes/no.
Oh my God, I'm butchering this. Okay, that's
I
fine.
hope you enjoyed that demonstration.
Yes, I am a woman.
The next part is auditory word recognition. The materials you need are the stimulus book and that bag full of a bunch of things that for time's sake we're not going to get out, but you would bring out the cup, matches, pencil, flower, comb, and screwdriver.
Okay, then I would tell you to point to the cup or show me the matches. Point to the pencil.
And you would give them a score of 1 or 0, 1 being correct and 0 being incorrect. And then moving on, and then you score that all up and write your total at the bottom. The next subtest is our sequential commands. So materials for this, you'll need a pen, a comb, and a book.
Okay. Oh. I'm going to ask you to do some things. Raise your hand. Shut your eyes. Point to the chair. Point to the window, then to the door.
And so the test booklet shows you what each command is worth. So the more parts in the command, the more points it's worth, and then you score them all up at the bottom. The next portion is the repetition subtest. And so you don't need any materials for this. The clinician will just say, repeat these words. Say blank.
Yep, repeat these words. Say bed.
Bed.
Say nose.
Nose.
Say pipe.
Pipe.
And to score this section, you can give them the maximum point value of whatever it's listed as, if the patient correctly repeats the target word or the phrase. And then, so let's say that 62.5. They could say 62, but they didn't get and a half. So you put an X through the part they didn't get right. And then it shows you what each word is worth 2 points. So if they didn't get the last 3, then you subtract 6 points. So it's all laid out very nicely. And then you add it up at the bottom. The next portion is object naming. So once again, you would need to get out all of the materials from the bag, and the clinician will ask the client, what is this, or what is the name of this object?
Okay, what is this?
Pencil.
What is this? Book. Okay.
To score this, it's a little bit trickier. You will need to mark the type of cue that you used, either tactile, phonemic, or semantic, and then you give them a score of 3, 2, 1, or 0. So 3 points is if it's named correctly with a minor articulatory error and no cues needed. 2 points if the object name is recognizable but with phonemic paraphasia, for example, fife for knife, and no cues needed. If they need any of the cues, then it's scored as 1 point, and then for no response, it is 0 points. So you would need to have knowledge of these types of cues because they don't actually give examples of it. So the next part is word fluency. You don't need any materials for this. The clinician will just have the client name as many animals as they can in 1 minute.
Okay, name as many animals as you can in 1 minute. And if you are hesitant, then I will cue you by saying, think of a domestic animal like a horse or a wild animal like a tiger. So I'll give you 30 seconds and you can go.
Rabbit, cat, dog, mouse.
And let's pretend a minute went by. So you will give them a word fluency score. So you score 1 point for each unique animal named, except for any names of animals you use as an example, even if it's distorted by phonemic paraphasias. So there's a max score of 20, so you could give potentially up to 20 points. The next portion is sentence completion.
Okay, complete what I say. For example, ice is
Cold.
good. The grass is
Green.
sugar is
Sweet.
Okay, and for this one, you can give them a score of 2, 1, or 0. So 2 points if the target response is reasonable. Score 1 point if you hear phonemic paraphasia or an off-target alternative response. So if they say the grass is brown, and score 0 points if it's totally unreasonable. For example, the grass is cold. And then you score that up at the bottom, possible 10 points. The next portion is responsive speech. You don't need any materials for this. The clinician will just ask the client to answer the following questions.
what do you write with?
A pencil.
What color is snow?
White.
And scoring is the exact same as the sentence completion, a 2, 0, or a 1 for no response. And that completes all the subtests. So what's nice about this, all of the scoring is done on this back part of the page. You don't need to flip through a manual, which can take a long time sometimes. So you add up all of the scores that you wrote at the bottom of every page. There's a box where you tallied everything up. So you write all those scores from all the subtests here, and there's directions on, when to divide. I think you divide 3 times, but it shows you when. And then you get this number down here. You get a total for each category. And then when you want to find your aphasia quotient, you take the total from each category and you get your aphasia quotient, and then you take that number, and if you want to know what type of aphasia this person might have, then you look at this table down here, and this will help you narrow down what type of aphasia that person is showing signs of, and so that is how you score it. Thank you.